and they knocked the door, rang the bell. I didn't wake up. They knocked for like 5 to 10 minutes. I didn't wake up. All the neighbors came out. They also gave utensils to bang. They also banged utensils. I didn't wake up.
They introduced me, that other guy introduced me to him, and he introduced her, like, that's my girlfriend, by the way. I think so. They had obviously heard that I've been fucking shooting my mouths to everybody that I am like an idiot. They had found out, and I felt like I'm in trouble. I think these guys are gonna like hurt me now.
When it started, his parents entered, entered the garden door, and we were like, "Wow!" we were frozen for a second, like what to do, what to do, and we are watching them coming inside, and we are like stunned that what we should do, and the movie is running. It's reaching the business part, and then suddenly said, "No, no, no, we have to do something." Then this guy just switched off the TV and pressed the eject button and ejected the disc. And as he ejected the disc, his mother came inside the room.
Fact that this dude, this guy who lives there, who I never got to see, actually has the empowerment. He has this authority that he sticks a full length poster right in the dead in the middle of his room, right in front of his desk, study desk, and he can admire it. I was just admiring this guy, and I was looking at this Mamta Kulkarni, admiring this person. I was like, wow, is this what happens when you become an adult? That you can do whatever the fuck you want to do? All right, here we are again, and hi Vikram.
Hi, hi everyone.
Right. Hi everyone who's ever subscribed and who is still not subscribed and just going on and on. Please subscribe. I'll tell you one news beforehand. We're not going to be talking about much, but yesterday I got diagnosed with COVID-19, and then I asked doctor what to do. He gave me M&Ms, a big bag of M&Ms, and I was like, "Is this supposed to fucking cure it?" He said, "Well, it's not going to cure it, but you're going to die happy." So he's like, I was like, okay. And then I just left, and I don't know what happened, but I'm still alive and I'm doing this podcast. That's why we're going down the memory lane. We went to college days first. Now we're going even back to happy school days, which I've termed as high school days, particularly for my end. It will be all just before high school. Technically, high school is 9th to 12th, and mine will be more like boarding school days, and it might start it from grade 8. And that's when
Okay.
I joined boarding school. I don't know how far your story is going, Vikram. Um,
Yeah, I think the same in the same region because
the
I
beginning
don't
point?
remember
Okay.
much before that as well. In fact, I had to really think about my day, school days to get some interesting stories because I remember moments, uh, but I don't remember like a story which you can narrate for 5 to 10 minutes. So I got some of them. I think they're interesting. Let's see.
All right, fair enough. It's. I think I had the same, not as much trouble as you have because I was in boarding school, so we had stories. But I think when I was talking about college, I had like tons of very very long stories, elaborate ones. But in school, it
Mm.
was more about those moments and things that
Yeah.
happen. So I think we'll do a small section of moments also where we just quick fire like 15 seconds and say something that the first that happened to me. Like I'll talk. I don't want to reveal it. I'm gonna start. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with 1994. This is the time when I went to boarding school. I was 12 years old. I was in grade. I had just completed grade 7 and or class 7 as they say here. So and I was getting into class 8, and that's when my parents decided to send me to boarding school. I'll just go a little bit back in this thing, and I just give you a bit of a storyline. What
Okay.
happened? Why was the reason I was sent to boarding school? I was born and raised in Delhi. My parents lived in Delhi, although they were not completely from Delhi. My father was from Garhwal. My mother had actually grown up all over the place because my nana happened to be in army, and my mother
Mhm.
was the first child out of 6 in total, 5 daughters and one brother. I hope this is not personal information. Everybody knows this. So if you're gonna get offended by this thing, I don't know. You have very low standards. So my grades from, and again, scores in India. My grades in grade 4 were my, I think it was approximately 75%. Grade 5 was, class 5 was 65%, class 6 was 55%, class 7 it was 45%. So every year, if you notice that my grades are going down by 10%, it's pretty consistently going down. The only consistency is that I'm just like, and I think in Delhi, I think the pass percentage at least was officially was 33, but that is boards. But I
Hmm.
think in school they should run around 35 to 40,
Uh,
because when the boards come in, you can actually decide your own. So when I went to boarding school, I realized that their pass thing was 50%, because
okay.
anybody less than 15% was an absolute loser. Like, what kind of dumb nut are you? Like, then I was like, see, it was so much better, because the board I actually ended up going to was ICSE, or
Oh.
as they call it, ISC after 10th.
Hmm.
ICSE till they call it till 10th, and then the ISC they call it for the 12th. But people
Hmm.
understand what the board is. It's more fancier board. It's like better English and everything. Maybe that's probably one of the reasons I actually speak better. I'm not sure. But we can definitely give them credit for that.
Hmm.
Now, how it happened, they decided that something is really going wrong. My mom and dad did not get along anyway, so they had their own problems. They felt like maybe they need to change something. One
Hmm.
of the best decisions they made. I think this is something which we talked about, which talk in general, that in India people don't realize when there is a mistake. They don't try to fix it. They don't try to like blame themselves and understand and try to find
Yeah.
a solution instead of going on about it. My maybe my mother had the pedigree. Obviously, she didn't live in a boarding school, but because people keep moving around, so she understands that people need to live away from their family. It's perfectly normal. Because my nana was always in army, used to be planted in Kargil and all those places, and always moving around. So she knew someone
Hmm.
in college, Dehradun, and Dehradun is like the school district. And I think people only know like Doon School or Vellum School, but if you really name them, then there are like gazillion really good schools. My school
Yeah.
was not one of them. My school
Okay.
was such its full name I will not even reveal in this podcast.
Hmm.
All I'll say is I went to a school called GRDA. A for Academy, that's all I'll tell you. Because if I tell you the full form, it's not fancy like Woodstock, Doon, Vellum, Colonel Brown, St. George's, St. Joseph's Academy,
Hmm.
Greendale's, Aryan. Ours was just like not very cool. So anybody ever asked us anything, we were like GRD, and they're like, "What's the full weather?" We changed. We like, "Oh, the weather is very sun is the water is wet today." It's like things like that. So we'll always change the topic. We'll try to like either if the person doesn't understand, we'll try to beat them up, but we never tell them what's the real name. So if you're really interested, you can always Google GRD and you'll find out. You'll
Yeah.
be like, "This fucker went to this school, man.
Is it
This is
still
so
there?
embarrassing." Oh, it's still there. It's gotten like bigger, but worse. I hope you understand that they make more money, but it's gotten worse. It's like what
Yeah, I can understand
Steve Jobs would say about Microsoft.
that.
Anyway, so my mother knew someone, and they recommended that they can send me to a boarding school in Dehradun. My mother was working, and she was making decent money. This is I'm talking about mid 90s, early to mid 90s.
Hmm.
I think she was making around 35-40,000. That was a lot of money that time. Per month. And although the fee were expensive for boarding school, but they were not as expensive as they are now, relatively speaking.
Hmm.
So anyway, that was not a concern. So she had the money. She's like, "This is the right thing to do," and they recommended it's fine. So the story is actually the day I packed all my bags right before the start of grade 8, and they had already accepted me somehow.
Hmm.
I don't even remember having a phone interview or anything. I'm not sure how this worked, how
Okay.
prestigious the school was, but trust me, if you're going to Doon School, Wellham School, Colonel Brown, Scholars Home, Woodstock, Wellham Boys, any other school that you're going to, St. George's, Missouri International, they will always call you physically over there, because I'm talking about 1994, early 1994.
Hmm.
You don't do phone interviews, like, or there's no Skype or anything. They
Yeah.
call you. If you're really serious, you'll go there and you'll give the interview, then you go forward from there.
Hmm.
Anyway, I don't remember anything happening. Anyway, I got admission. It was through Jack. Like, we
Hmm.
had the Jack, and because my scores were falling down, and these guys obviously wanted people. And this is a new school, by the way. It had only opened 5-6 years ago. I think it
Hmm.
opened in late 80s. So it was a very
Okay.
new school. So they probably were expanding. Anyway, the deal was that the day I went to boarding school, we didn't go directly to the boarding school. So we went to this uncle, we called him uncle, that guy's place, who's the person who knew my mother. So because obviously they said, let's host you before you put your son directly there. So you go to Dehradun, those are the people who knew us. So we went to their house. So the elders, my father never used to travel, so my mother went, and my mother was is fairly a people's person, gregarious. Also, she gets very angry, and then rips people apart. That's a bit of a Punjabi blood thing. So, but generally she's very outspoken and she speaks like regular Punjabi people.
Okay.
Anyway, these people we went to, I'm not sure they were Punjabi, they were probably more Pahadi.
Hmm.
We went to their house. Just this story is about just before I actually, go. We take the bus or something, and then we overnight bus in the morning we reach. So we go to their house. I think in the afternoon they said like have lunch here, then you can go, deposit your son there, and then she can go back in the evening.
Hmm.
So while the elders were talking, so they said like you're getting bored, so you can go and sit in their son's room. And their son was an elder person. Elder isn't like elder to me that time. He was in college or something. I don't know. He
Hmm.
was not in the room. He was in college or something. That's what I remember. So I go to his room and I'm like, they're like, you can hang out. And the first thing I see in the room is, and this is what the story is about, and this
Hmm.
has stayed since 1994, so last more than 25 5 years 6 years.
Hmm.
There was this poster of Mamta Kulkarni, full
Oh,
size poster. There was a table where his study table, and there was few books and stuff. And then there was Mamta Kulkarni's full length poster, where it's a topless poster. She has actually, I think it was 1993 Stardust. I think
yeah.
you'll Google it and put it
I
there.
think I
She
know the poster. It was very
right,
controversial. Yeah.
very controversial poster. So she's like got her arms around her breast. She had big
Yeah.
breasts around her breast, and she has like her jeans, which is like really terrible jeans, and she has the button unhooked as well, and zip is slightly
Zip
off.
is open.
Uh,
Yeah. Uh,
as well. And her like funny part is like right now all the heroines will be embarrassed by it because she has a fucking tummy, man. She's literally, but she was a hot chick that time. So this is 1994, and this I think this cover came in 1993 in Stardust, which was a very popular magazine. I'm not sure if this is still existent or not.
it's
Um,
still there. It's still there.
okay.
Stardust,
So
right? Yeah.
yeah, so I remember seeing it and I was like, I was fascinated by this thing. Not just, see, I had never seen porn, I never even seen boobs. Again, you don't really see full boobs, but this is a heroine. This is a
Hmm.
somebody who's like, I'm 12 years old. This is like something magical for me. And the fact that this guy, but that was not the biggest part. The part of the amalgamation of this fact and the fact that this dude, this guy who lives there, who I never got to see,
Uh-huh.
actually has the empowerment. I'm using the wrong word. The empowerment now is only used for women, right? So he
Yeah.
has this authority that he sticks a full length poster right in the dead in the middle of his room, right in front of his desk, study desk, and he can admire it. I was just admiring this guy, and I was looking at this Mamta Kulkarni, admiring this person. I was like, wow, is this what happens when you become an adult? That you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, and your parents are
Hmm.
like, okay, or maybe you don't even ask them. And
Hmm.
that image has stayed with me. It's just a very small story, but it's just that image stayed with me, that I felt like, and that time I wanted to be 18 or whatever, I wanted to be in college, that I can do this, because till then I could not even, like, it's not even like I was thinking that can I put this or can I not put this. That thought had never even come into my mind that I can ever even fathom to
Hmm.
do something of this nature. If I even be caught with this thing, I will hide it so far deep in my pocket, or probably I'll probably dig up the earth and then hide it there. And I'm not even talking about a poster, like anything, because I think
Yeah.
I will get castrated for something like this. And this guy had it like right in the middle, 1994, and I'm like, wow! I already started admiring this person whom I never got to see, but I was like, wow! I think it was probably a beginning of something. And next story will be actually on top of that. What happened after that? I think maybe a couple of years later. So that was my
Okay.
first time when I saw somebody who had freedom, a young person,
Hmm.
and this guy was probably between 18 and 21. I never got to see him. So that was my little story, and that's the first
Mhm.
time which I tried before going to boarding school. So my
Okay.
initiation started even before that. So yeah, uh, passing the mic to you then.
Yeah. So okay. So I'll go with a similar one on the same theme. So this is about me going to a friend's place. Okay, I'll tell the story so it
Hmm.
unravels. So okay, I'll also give a bit of background. Unlike you, I have lived in a very small town. My father still works at the same place. It's called Damodar Valley Corporation
Hmm.
and Corporation. Sorry, and it's in and you have been to that place, right? In during my marriage, so
Yeah,
it's
asshole. Oh, Asansol. It just sounds like
so
asshole.
it's not even
Asansol.
Asansol. Asansol is where you got down the train, and then from there
Okay.
you I think came. You have to travel for half an hour to reach this place. So this is like a this is like a colony. established by the corporation itself. So
Mhm.
everyone inside the colony is related to the corporation in some way, either working in the corporation or they are indirectly vendors to the corporation.
Got it.
So it's a very old colony. I think this there is a dam there, and the dam was inaugurated by Jawaharlal Nehru. So you can understand how old this place is. Yeah. So the one of the features of living in small town is that everyone knows everyone, right?
Mhm.
So just so I'm talking about 2001. I was in class 9th. I just given exam for class 9, standard 9, and we were just going to the board year 10th, which that time was considered to be the most one of the most important phases of your life.
Mhm.
So this is during the vacation period between the ninth standard, 10th standard, and I used to study in Kendriya Vidyalaya. So there were only two good schools in the town. One was Kendriya Vidyalaya, and the other was, and that was CBSE board, and the other was Dean Obley School, which was ICSE. So I had studied from class 1 to class 12 in Kendriya Vidyalaya. I've never changed my school. So yeah, so this is during the holidays, obviously summer holidays. There was one of my, I don't even remember the name of the friend. It's so long back, but he invited me and one of our common friend to his house to watch porn
Mhm.
one day.
Well, how
So
old were you?
I was in 2001. I would be 15 years. Yeah, no, not
Okay,
15.
you are
Yeah,
old. Okay, fair. Yeah.
14. I think 14 years. Yeah,
Mhm.
17. So yeah, I
Got it.
was 14 years, 2001, going into 10th standard, and then this guy he had so so just give you some background to this incident as well. As I said, that in small towns everyone knows everyone, right?
Mhm.
So you can't just as a kid you can't just go into a store, and this time, and this is 2001, there was no internet where you can download porn, or at least it was not fast enough, or we didn't know all the things. So
Mhm.
so in small town, as a kid, you can't just go to a video parlor and ask for porn, right? Right? Because that video parlor guy also knows your parents. So if you go and if you go and hire that, next day your parents will come to know.
Correct.
So I asked him, like, how did you manage to get this? And he said, I went to a nearby town. There I bought the DVD, and he had a DVD player, which was not very uncommon. Sorry, not very uncommon that time, because I think we also had a DVD player, but still, getting a DVD of a pornographic movie was a big deal. So he said that he went to a nearby town. There he bought the DVD and got it. And he said, I wanted to watch, but I wanted to watch uh, with all of you. So we were just three people.
Mhm.
It was around, I think, 4 o'clock in the evening, and he said, "You come at 4 o'clock because my parents will be going to some friend's place, their friend's place." So we said, okay. So we fixed the time. We went, me and my friend, and we sat down. He had a TV, color TV, and he connected DVD player, and he inserted the disc, and it was a Indian, I think, yeah, it was an Indian pornographic movie. I don't remember the name or
Sweet
anything.
Jesus.
And just when it started, and we had, I mean, this was all our houses were pretty big. I mean, my house was not that big, but generally, houses which are like single houses, they have some space for the garden. So if
Mhm.
someone is coming, they'll have to open the garden door and then come inside. So if it's quiet, you will know that someone is coming. So
Mhm.
when it started, his parents entered entered the garden
Sweet.
door, and we were like, wow. We were frozen for a second, like what to do. And we are watching them coming inside, and we are like stunned that what we should do. and the movie is running, and it's going, it's reaching the business part, and then
Mhm.
suddenly said, no, 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 we have to do something. Then this guy just switched off the TV and pressed the eject button and ejected the disc. And as he ejected the disc, his mother came inside the room, and
Mhm.
she said, "Oh, you guys are here. What are you watching?" I said, "No, nothing. He was just showing us the DVD player you guys have bought." Said, "Oh, but what are you watching on the DVD player?" "Oh, nothing. We just switched on." And I don't know. I mean, people, generally parents think that their children are very innocent. She didn't ask many questions, and just
Mhm.
she just went away. And we were we just took a heavy sigh of relief and said, "Okay, this didn't work out." And then we just I mean, she was his mother was saying that, we'll give you something to eat or drink. Said, "No, no, auntie, we just came here to see how the DVD player is, and now we are going."
Mhm.
And this guy, later on, I asked him, "What did you do with the DVD?" And he said exactly the same thing which you said, that I you would have hidden it as deep as possible. And I think he also
Buried it.
broke the
Buried it with my grandfather was buried.
I think he broke the DVD or something, and he just buried it in garden. And
Why you are very scared.
and that was something which I still remember, that I mean, there was such a, and this, it was not even the first time that I watched. I actually
Mhm.
went to a friend's house and he was already watching, and I was like, suddenly went inside and say, "This is happening." I was
Mhm.
like, I was very much stunned because I didn't know about all this, right? As I think Shishti also said, right, before watching, everyone knows that everyone knows, no one knows that how sex works. So this was also, it's always eye opening when you watch it for the first time. So
So
anyway,
this was your first time?
this was yeah, that was my first time, before this
Mhm.
happened. And this was the second time where we would have watched, but yeah,
But you could
yeah. So this was something which,
by 15, I knew. I was like, we were slow, but right now, I think kids, when they're 6, maybe 7, they know, I suppose. So I think
yeah,
by 13, they were like kids of their own.
yeah,
So yeah, I totally relate to that story. It's like at least this is a story in 2001, because till now I've only had these stories in like late 90s or
uh,
sometime in 90s. The only
mm,
difference was the DVD player. I've had the similar story with my friend
mm.
who had a movie he was playing, and then the lights went out and the cassette fucking got stuck in
Oh.
the and he used to live in Shahjahanpur, and it was like, fuck this thing. They had to take the entire VCR out of the house, man. And the mother was like, where the fuck is the AC? I was like, we're trying to get it fixed. What is the problem with the VCR? He's like, we need fucking connection. We can't leave it inside because there's no way you can get the fucking cassette out without the lights coming back on. It's like they
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
take
true, yeah,
the entire thing and take it. And you can't just take the VCR. You're like 14 years old. Like VCR is like, this is like really expensive property. And in
yeah,
Shahjahanpur, right? That
yeah.
was one story I had. Like, I think this is the story one of the guys in boarding used to told us, that he tried to watch it and this is what happened. The lights went out. He
I
was
think
like, they
everyone
had to take.
has similar, at least one similar story like that.
Now it's more stories like, when they're watching on the laptop, they're watching on the phone,
Ah,
there's somebody's just in the back. It's like, whoa, she's there. And they hit the button, shut the screen, and they get on with it.
yeah,
Now people are so used to watching so much stuff, so it's not the same part altogether.
yeah,
Okay, we're gonna get on to the next one. So I will tell you this because we already talked about being infatuated with Mamta Kulkarni, and the whole idea of somebody can have a poster in their own room, the amount of liberty, and then moving on to porn, which is something which was always gonna expect that in school something like this will happen. So I'm gonna move on to some more like infatuation, or as
yeah.
that time we would have called it love, because we just feel like, oh, this is the world we were living in with some movies, and
Hmm.
anything we feel for any girl for the first time. This must be love. There must have been. I shouldn't be
Yeah.
singing. I'm really a terrible singer. So this happened in boarding school in grade 8 only, when
Hmm.
this was my first year. But I think few months had passed, so I think we start semester. When do we start school? In April? I think April. When you give exams in March, and I think we start in April straight away, and then we used to have holidays in the
Yeah.
summers.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
time had passed, and then we were preparing for, yeah. So it must be towards the end, because in December, just before the winter holidays, we used to have Founders Day, and that's when we used to have lots of sport competitions and everything. So and part of that was also March past.
Hmm.
I don't know anybody who's very familiar with that stuff. It's very common in boarding school that we used to do March past, like like left, right,
Yeah,
left,
even we
right, left.
used
So
to have it. I think NCC cadets used to do it.
every house will have it. So I remember doing this once, and while we were doing it, so I was not very tall, but
Hmm.
it was, as a rule, what we used to have in boarding school, we had a lot of hierarchy. So if you're in whatever grade you are in, you stand accordingly.
Hmm.
So I remember I was just I would never not stand before at least seventh graders, even if they're taller. So I remember standing as far back as I could, and it was about maybe a third last time or something, and I was just standing there in White House, and then right in front of me was this girl. She was in my grade. She was actually taller than me. Her name was Aman, and so then I remember, because I was not good at it. So
Hmm.
like when you left, right, left, something like that. So I my hands kept hitting hers a lot of time,
Oh,
and
okay.
for whatever reason, and she was by the way very pretty. And then for whatever reason, I just felt like this tingly feeling or something, a just very weird, stupid feeling, and I felt like wow, it felt like really cool.
Hmm.
And I swear to God, I did not even do it like deliberately, because I didn't have the balls to do it deliberately.
Hmm.
Hit her hands. Because first of all, she was pretty, and she was like, I was like, I've never had this kind of feeling with anybody. When you first time feel infatuated with somebody who's like
Yeah.
really hot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're very young. So I didn't do it, but it was happening. I think I hit her hand multiple times. She didn't seem to really be concerned about it or bothered, or it was just normal. It was just like I was trying, and it was like fine. But anyway, what happened, and that's the time I felt like I'm in love with this person.
Hmm.
It was just dumbass stupid. I remember when the March past finished, I ran up. My house was White House, which was actually we had multi-story building. It was the top house. So at the bottom we used to have juniors. Then first house was blue, and then gold, and then at the top was white. And there was obviously stairs, lift. So I just ran all the way like this. Like I normally would walk or run, but this run was not normal. It was one of those. Seen that movie Jojita Oi Sikandar,
Yeah,
and there's a
I was thinking about it because it seemed like that.
and that everybody knows that song in our generation, and right now also because of remixes, and he's throwing paper everywhere. Pehla
Yeah, yeah.
nasha.
The whole song is in slow motion. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like running in fast motion, but my mind is slow motion. I'm like going, and my dom was also like it was C5. So even when I reach it, I still need to like walk on in the corridor a fair bit to reach my dom. And when I reach my dom, when I entered the dom, like there's like 13, 14 people there. I am like in different zone altogether. And I don't know, for some reason, I see one of my friend, I think it was Abhishek or somebody was close to me, and I literally announced to him, like, I'm in love. And I'm like, this guy, what the fuck? What just happened? What has happened to you? It was miraculous. And then I think, like an idiot, I kept telling people, like, I really like this girl, I really like this girl. I think I was just kind of losing the plot a little bit.
Hmm.
But then I think it was 2 days later, 3 days later, I don't recall. But right after dinner, I used to have dinner around 7. So I think dinner would run for like next half an hour, 45 minutes. But when I say 7, we start queuing up. And then once everybody's queued, then eventually everybody just goes into the mess,
Hmm.
which is dining hall. If people are not familiar with the boarding school lingo. Now, I think 7:45 or something, and then lights out used to be 9 o'clock, 9:30 or something. I think I went with the dinner finished, and then I remember some guy approaching me, and then he summoned me to meet them at 8:30 or somewhere and I not somewhere. I think 8:30 in the field, and at some
Hmm.
corner. We used to have this football field, which was right across the where we used to board, a residential building. And but at that time it was very dark. Like, and this is
Okay.
looking at towards the end, probably November or early December. I don't know. But Dehradun gets cold, and the days are very short. So after 6 o'clock, it's fairly dark. So I think 8:30, it's very dark, pitch
Hmm.
dark, and they
It's,
didn't have much lights on. And so I got summoned, and I do not know what it was about. But when I reached there, there was another guy who showed up as well, and by the way, that guy happened to be this girl's Aman's boyfriend, and I was just trying to
okay.
remember his name. I remembered his name. His name was Manik Lamba, and this guy had
Okay.
colored eyes. Like I think he had
Like Ritik
blue
Roshan.
some, yeah, something like colored eyes, dude. and he was very good looking, and he was still in eighth grade, and they introduced me. That other guy introduced me to him, and he introduced her like, that's my girlfriend, by the way. I think so. They had obviously heard that I've been fucking shooting my mouth to everybody that I
Yeah,
am like
obviously.
an idiot.
Yeah.
That found out, and I felt like I'm in trouble. I think these guys are gonna like hurt me now, and because I think they must have seen my face going like like going like one of the like Mark Zuckerberg's face goes like this in that movie Social Network. He's like, "Are you guys gonna beat me? You guys are the boyfriends of the girls." I heard, and then when they saw me, this I think Manik said that we're not gonna harm you. I just wanted to have a talk with you. That's all.
Mhm.
And the way he said it very calmly, I actually believed him that he's not gonna harm me. And then he said, "Do you really like her?" I said, like, by that time I realized that he's already dating her. I like her. I'm like, to be very honest, if on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I was two, and if you're very generous, three. This guy was nine. Okay, and I was like, this is not gonna work out. And I was like, I already backed off. I was like, okay, I need to just shut the fuck up from now on. And they were not even threatening me. And then I said like, okay, I think I'm sorry. He's like, no, no, I just wanted to say that this is happening. And then before we were leaving, he said, you know what? In fact, if you want, you can even ask her out if you feel like it. And if she
Hmm,
says yes to you, then I'm gonna back off.
that's cool.
And yeah, I know, like eighth grade, and I'm like, I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, this guy's serious, and I'm like, I'm not asking her out, dude. She's gonna back off. She's gonna insult me, and this guy's gonna anyway keep dating her. Then they're gonna laugh at me every time they look at me. I'm like, all I said, remember, like probably nodding my head. I was like, okay. And then I realized these guys didn't hurt me. These guys were like so mature, and these guys are so cool. I was like, wow,
and and
this is
and
this
maybe
is how
make a
good.
podcast after 25 years on you.
Yes, 25 years later, I'm making the fucking podcast on them. They're like, fucking, I wonder how this guy is. Probably have become cooler than this guy now. I don't know, like maybe, or maybe some superstar or something. I don't know. Uh, but I was like, wow, the level of maturity against this guy was in eighth grade, and the way they dealt with this entire situation. And that's why a lot of time I actually say, like, to you as well, how the fuck do we keep fighting about women or girls? And then these
Mm.
people are like 21 years old, 32 years old, 37 years old, 40 years old. They're like, oh, how dare you see, look at my girl. I was like, eighth grade, 13. He's 13 years old. I mean, the level of maturity these guys had was just immaculate. And that's one of the reasons I've never forgotten this. That was my benchmark. Manik Lamba was the benchmark against who I actually, a 13-year-old guy who actually tells me officially on my face, you can ask her out. If she wants to go out with you, I'm going to back off. Like literally, he said that.
Wow,
I'm obviously paraphrasing and using different words, but this is exactly what he said.
that never happened.
So yeah, I was just like that level of confidence. He was not even smug. He was not even fucking around. He was like, "You, dude, like it's a fair world, you know. It's like if she wants to be with you, she can be with you." And I knew that she didn't. She wouldn't want to be with me, man. I
Yeah,
was just this loser who just come from Delhi. I was like, dude, I was just like finding my
see,
steps. Like I was taking baby steps. I really got better as we went on, but I'll talk about that in the next story. So that was the story that. Understanding that people can be really really mature even when they're in eighth grade,
hmm.
and situation, that's a lesson for everybody else to how to deal with the situation. I think hats off to Mr. Lamba at that time. Right now I can call him Mr. Lamba because that time it was just Manik, the guy with the blue eyes or something.
Maybe it's a
So
search for him on Facebook or
by the way,
something.
I searched right before the podcast started, and
Okay.
I think I was getting some really loser young kids, and I was like, that's not him. So I would put GRD as well, but I think he didn't put GRD in his profile for the same reason as
Because yeah,
earlier.
no, it does.
Normally, if it's Harvard, if you put Maningama Harvard, definitely it will come up, right? But people are like,
Yeah,
not GRD, I'll just put some next college I went to, but I don't know which college I went to. So, but yeah,
yeah,
that was my story that time.
yeah. Interesting.
Yes, back to you.
Okay, so yeah, I'll go with a funny one.
Great.
Yeah, because yeah, I think we just remember the funniest one or the most embarrassing ones from
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to avoid the one which are very serious,
Yeah,
because there's some really serious one I came up with, but I'm trying to avoid that.
I have
Anyway,
one
go on.
serious. Probably I'll take it on the next part. Okay.
Yeah, anyway, this is the last one for this one. We are
Yeah.
in 2 minutes.
So okay, so this is about my sleeping habits, which I think have not changed even now. But this is really incredible story. So I
Which
told you
year?
right. I was yeah.
Context,
So
which year?
this is I think similar here. It's a timeless story, you can say. It could have
Wow.
happened anytime.
I just want to
Uh,
imagine how old you
yeah, I think similar. I think eighth grade, 14, 15, around that.
were.
So,
Uh-huh.
so this is again, as I told you, that I'm from a very small town. In smaller towns, unlike bigger towns, everyone knows everyone, and there is a lot of community. Um, so, so my parents used to go for weddings, like anyone's parents, right? And I was not. I was very shy at that time. I didn't use. I think even now that is there. I didn't. I didn't want to go to weddings and all, and I be around a lot of people's, not people, uncle and aunties. So I used to generally stay back at home, and my parents used to go, and that used to give me some freedom as well. I mean, there was nothing much to do anyway in the home, but still, I could even listen to music instead of studying, or just read comic books or something like that. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I generally used to stay back, and they used to go, and they used to come back by 10 p.m.
Mhm.
It didn't used to go very late. So it was one of those instances where they went out, and I was alone in the house. And then what happened is, I think I was studying or reading something or watching, and I was lying down and doing it. So I fell asleep, and
Mhm.
I just fell asleep, and suddenly I woke up and I see my parents are there, and they are just doing their business and everything. And I thought, how did they come in? Because I had bolted the door,
Mhm.
and I saw the time. It was around 10:30, so they must have. So I must have slept for like I must have slept at 9, and I think I was asleep till 1.5 hours, and I
Mhm.
didn't have any memory of opening the door for them, and letting them in. And I was really perplexed. Then I just asked my father, "How did you come in?" He said, "Oh, you woke up finally." I said, "Yeah, yeah." Now let me know, how did you come in? Then he told the story. So it turns out they came around 10 o'clock, and they knocked the door, rang the bell. I didn't wake up. They knocked for like 5 to 10 minutes. I didn't wake up. Then, then I think, and we were on the first floor. So the you have been to my place, right? So there
Yes.
is ground floor and first floor. Just that,
Yes. Mhm.
that much. So we knew people on the ground floor. Like obviously, they were neighbors. So then my father thought that, okay, this guy is not going to wake up. So he went down, and he asked, "Do you have a stair?" He said, "Yeah, I have a stair." So he he put the stair to go to the balcony, but I was a genius. I had bolted the balcony as well. So,
Wow.
so I said, okay, this is not working out. Then again they came back. They banged the door. All the neighbors came out. They also gave utensils to bang. They also banged utensils. I didn't wake up. then, then my mother came up with this like genius idea. So in the old houses, you have a place to bolt. You have a place to put a wooden piece to bolt the door. You don't have to bolt the door with a lock or anything. You If you just place the wooden piece, the door is shut. You cannot open.
Mhm.
So so my mother said, okay, do you have any sharp object like a knife?
Oh, like the wedge. You
Yeah.
put the wedge. Yeah.
So they just made enough space so that the knife can go in, and they, with the help of knife, they finally removed the wooden piece and came in, and the wooden piece would have fallen down. It would have made a lot of noise. I was sleeping next to the door. Still I didn't
Mhm.
wake up. And I eventually woke up at 10:30, or I think 10:45 or something like that. And my parent and my mother came, and she gave a applause. Okay, well done. I've never seen someone sleep so soundly that bang utensils. You like rang the bell for 10 minutes and you still didn't wake up. And I think this happens even now when I go to very deep sleep. It's very hard to
Hmm.
wake me up.
Man, it still
So
happens to you. That's crazy. Because
yeah,
that story reminded me of two of my stories completely. Because I think, and well, before I say that, I think it's a wonderful thing that people get actually go into this really deep sleep.
yeah,
I think it's called the REM, right? When you're
yeah, yeah,
really in
yeah,
that,
yeah,
you, everything is spinning so quickly. Two times it happened with me. One time, my parents literally had to actually drill a hole in the screen door, or as they call the jolly, in the window. They drilled that hole in that, and just to, I think then that's how they woke me up eventually, because they obviously tried all the things as they tried with you, right? They
yeah,
tried
yeah,
everything. I could not wake up, and then they eventually fucking drilled a hole in that screen in the door that we had in the window, and we apparently still had that hole for the longest time, because they never got that mesh fixed, and they would
yeah.
just put some on it, like some kind of thing.
Mm,
And because every time I used to see it, they would remind me, say, why that hole happened? Because of you. And then my father had gone out to get me fried fish, which I love, fried fish. And then that happened. I was
yeah.
like, wow, that happened. And I also remember other than I was living with my mother, because my mother was just had moved out from my father's place because of all the problems. And then my
Mm,
mother came at night. I was sleeping, and it was my birthday or something. No, I'm not
mm,
sure if it was my birthday or not, but something had happened. And then
mm.
I woke up in the morning, and I was like, I saw a box which was like looked like a cake, and I was like, oh, you got cake and you just ate it all. She's like, no, you ate the entire thing. I was like, when did I eat it? It's like I came in, I looked you up, you were like, oh, pineapple pastry. And I was like, I ate it, you ate it, and then you slept. And I was like, this is not right. I should have even remembered like eating this thing. I should have enjoyed it. It's like you enjoyed it. It's like I don't remember any of it. I was like probably 11, 12 years old or something. But I've
Yeah,
eaten fucking stuff and not remembered it. And that jolly incident happened. Like I really wonder if that sleep can happen now, man. It's like that's a beautiful thing, because right now everybody just complains about unable to sleep or just feel
yeah.
scared. I think women it's become a psychological thing that women
Mm,
can't even have that kind of amazing sleep than that men can have, because
mm,
we're like, as you know, we just throw caution to the wind, or as they say in Hindi, "घोड़े बेच के," you know.
right.
I don't know where it comes from, but the घोड़े
And my
बेच के
my
तो
my father used to say gadhe bech ke for me.
गधे बेच your scenario that way only. And well, that was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it reminds me of a few other things. That's something I don't know where other people can relate to it. I'm sure somebody has some kind of funny story, because right now I think there's so many multiple locks that people don't have to go through that situation that
And I think
we.
I've also seen kids, because there are so many distractions, right? Just imagine being a kid now, alone in the home. There are so many distractions. You can watch TV, you can chat with your friends, you can play video games. That time I didn't have anything. That's why I slept, right? Otherwise I would have just stayed awake. So yeah,
Fair
that
enough, fair enough.
innocence. Yeah,
Very innocent. Great. Okay, we want to finish this on this note so we can start the second part.
yeah.
All right, I think it was pretty interesting. The thing was like, did you know any of my stories beforehand? This time, unlike the last time, because I don't think I share school stories that much.
I knew the girlfriend story because you had shared something some part of it during one of
Yeah,
our
definitely.
podcasts, I
Yeah,
think.
podcast.
So
Okay.
yeah, but I didn't know
The
the
other,
whole thing. Yeah,
the other one. Okay. I think we'll start the next one. I did not know either of any of your stories actually, because you never mentioned it. As you said, you had to dig down the memory lane to just find them in the first place. But I think in the end, it's a good thing that we actually remembering the things which are actually we've forgotten, or actually just in the on the back burner, or just like hiding somewhere in the subconscious.
yeah. Okay, we'll
All
take a
right.
pause and then start. Okay.
Please subscribe, because I think some fuckers are not subscribing. What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay. His cousin subscribed like 6 times. Yeah, I think if you have other accounts also, please subscribe, tell your friends, tell somebody, tell your
Yeah,
enemies, you will like this. So yeah. And as we know that we're gonna have extension for another couple of weeks everywhere, as long as you live in a place which has any significance. So Asansol might just continue regularly as nothing ever happened. I think in Asansol people don't even know coronavirus. People are like, what? What is that?
no,
Like when
everyone
they
knows.
go out like next year, because they go out every year from Asansol. That's the system there. Like every 1 year, they're like go to cities. Like people Corona. I was like, what Corona? I was like, what is this thing? They
क्या
don't know
करना
about
है?
they don't know about the beer Corona. They don't know about the coronavirus. All they know is Corona. So he's like, वो तो
हाँ,
आए हैं, इसलिए करने के लिए तो आए हैं इतने दूर. We are here to buy the DVD. It's like, you still fucking buying the DVD. It's like, वो बाकी वाला तो मेरे पापा को जानता है. It's like you come to buy DVD. It's like, मतलब मार्क्स से मिल रहा था, but मेन काम तो यही है, but बताते नहीं.
Hmm.
Maybe that will happen. All right, take care.
Okay. Yeah. Bye bye.
All
See
right,
you on the next one.
bye.